with me now a very special guest. Her name, April Raymond. April is Cult Mom Lori Vallows' former friend from Hawaii. April, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for reporting on this story.
Did you know JJ and Tylee?
I did. I've known JJ and Tylee and their family since 2015.
When you see the footage of her in court now, is that the Lori that you knew?
Not at all. I don't recognize that person.
Let's start at the beginning. April Raymond, Lori Vallows' friend from Hawaii, you guys met in 2015 at the local Mormon church there. Are you a Mormon?
I am LDS.
Well, what do you make of her questioning, are the children light or dark, and have they turned into zombies? From all of my friends that are Mormon, from investigating and speaking to members of the LDS, I've never heard anything like that in my life.
I haven't either, and I've been LDS my entire life. When she first kind of brought those things up with me last spring, I didn't even know what to think or where she was coming up with her beliefs.
Okay, whoa, wait. She talked to you about zombies and light and dark?
She did. She started by telling me that Charles had a demon living inside of him. That was the first exposure I had to these beliefs. And along with her, after she started telling me about Charles and the demon that was inside of him, the demon even had a name. His name was Ned Snyder.
Wait. The demon's name, living in her now dead husband, was, what was the demon's name?
She told me Ned Snyder was the name that she used.
Ned Snyder. I mean, we're used to hearing about demons from hell like Beelzebub and others, but
right.
I've never really heard modern day demons named. Why does she say Charles Vallows' body was inhabited by a demon?
Well, the way she explained it to me is she said that Charles was already dead and that there was a demon living inside of him, and the demon was named Ned Snyder. And I asked her, well, how do you know that Charles is dead and this Ned Snyder has taken over his body? And the explanation she gave was, well, the demon is shorter than Charles, and that's how I know it's not him. And I thought she was having a nervous breakdown. I thought, she was going through a divorce. She's just become a grandmother. Maybe she's having a midlife crisis. I never thought that we would end up here or be having this kind of a conversation months later.
April, I'm totally blown away by what you're telling me. So were you in person with her or on the phone when she said this?
We were in person, and she was living back in Arizona, but she and Tylee came to Kauai to visit me. It was when Charles kind of started his divorce proceedings, and she just needed to get away, and she said she was going to start over on Kauai. So once she kind of started telling me about this demon in Charles, then she brought these lists of names, and next to them was a number, and it would say light or dark, and it was just pages and pages of names. And I'm not sure exactly how or who all was involved in judging and rating these people, but they had a systematic way of deciding if somebody was light or dark, if they were possessed. It was very alarming. She even had a list with my name on it, but my name was handwritten in. So
I hope you were light.
I was. I don't know if she'd still probably have me in that category, but she had me in light, but she had just handwritten my name and she had crossed out somebody else's name. I guess I took their place or something.
What kind of people were on the list? Who's on the list?
There were family members of hers. A lot of the names I didn't even recognize. They must have been people that she knew, but they weren't names that I recognized. The name whose place I took that she hand wrote, I didn't recognize the name. I did recognize a few of her family members, but other than that and myself, I didn't recognize any of the names.
Were the children on the list?
Not the list that I saw, but she did tell me that Tylee was dark. She didn't say anything about JJ at that time, but she did tell me that Tylee was dark.
What in their world are you supposed to do when someone is dark?
See, at the time, I didn't know what that meant. I just thought that it was, I didn't know where she was coming up with it. I thought it was just harmless, or it was some kind of escape for her. I never got the impression that it was going to become a violent situation or a dangerous situation. I thought it was just more of like a fantasy world that she was living in, and I thought it was just, you know, maybe brought on by some kind of, you know, emotional trauma or midlife crisis. I never thought that we would end up here.
But she told you, and you're sure, that Tylee was dark.
Yes, she said Tylee is dark, she's just like her dad. And her dad was really, according to Lori, was very dark. That would be Joe Ryan.
Now, at this time, was Joe Ryan still alive?
No, he was not. He passed away, I think, in the spring of 2018, because she and Tylee came to visit me the 4th of July, 2018, and he had already passed away by then.
But she says he was also dark.
Exactly.
So, did you know her during the happy times?
I did, absolutely.
Between her, Lori. What was her relationship like with her husband, Charles Vallow?
Honestly, I thought she and Charles had the perfect marriage. Of all the friends that I had, I thought they had the marriage that you'd want to emulate. In fact, when she first told me last February that they were having marriage problems, that they were going to be going through a divorce, I was completely blindsided because I never saw them argue. She never complained about anything very significant in their marriage, other than she wanted more of a strong spiritual leader. She didn't feel like she and Charles were spiritual equals, but beyond that, it seemed like they had a really good marriage, and I thought they had a really great life.
Why did she think she and Charles Vallow were not spiritual equals?
Charles had converted to Mormonism, and so his understanding of doctrine was maybe not as advanced as she perceived her understanding to be. She's a lifelong, born into Mormonism, been born and raised in Mormonism. So I think that she just didn't think that he understood maybe some of the deeper doctrines that she was really attracted to. But he supported her in her role in her religion. He did his part. He wasn't a passive participant. He was very active. I think she just thought that he wasn't her match spiritually.
Let me pause and thank our partner in making today